All right, everyone, we have a special treat today. You all have kind of followed a little bit of the journey of the basketball league through the lens of the Kokomo Bobcats with Coach Coley and Derek Hawk Hawthorne. Well, we went straight to the top for today, and we have the president of the basketball league with us today, David Magley. So welcome, David. Thanks for joining us. This is definitely a great opportunity to be able to interview somebody at the top of a league and to kind of get into the mind of the person that makes things happen. So I appreciate it.
Well, I'm technically not the top, but I can see it from where I am. The top is our CEO, and she sets the direction for the league, and I just follow it. And she's the one that God gave the vision to, and she's the first female and the first African American to ever own a male pro sports league. So she gives us a very unique perspective because it's really about how we treat our guys. It's about what the guys do in the community. And if we do these things the right way, we can change lives. If we just use celebrity for ourselves, we're just another basketball league. We're just another, my complaint with sports across the board is we teach these kids such boorish behaviors from an early age, because if you can put a ball in the hole, you're going to get treated differently than anyone else on the team. You're going to get better sneakers, get better food. You ride with the coach, you get treated special, you get more gear, and then you get to be the one in high school that gets to be recruited special. And then people spend extra money they're not supposed to on you. And then the girls come, and we create these young men that are just so almost narcissistic that they're not ready to really give back to society. So we take all this celebrity and say, okay, now let's do something with it greater than just serve yourself. Let's go impact a young life. Let's go tell somebody that they're important and pat somebody on the back. And we have power. And if these guys do it the right way, they can change communities. And we've been real happy with the way our guys have been able to do that.
From the Kokomo perspective, that's how we got into this. It looks like the Kokomo Bobcats are deep rooted already in the community. And I think that's, from my perspective, a great, amazing thing for that town, for the team to get in, be a part of the community. And that to me is how you start building a fan base. And that's how you start building a following, is to be a part of the community. I think that's just a great mission for all of your teams. Are you seeing that kind of buy-in from every team in your league?
Every team that our teams go out and do that. I mean, on a Wednesday morning, the Main Street Cafe will tweet, "Get excited, because today at noon, our boys, quote unquote, ownership of the guys, our boys, the Bobcats, will be coming downtown. We better make up extra batches of strawberry lemonade because they love that stuff." So the reality is this team, you're treated, I played in the NBA for the Cleveland Cavaliers when they were called the Cadavers because we played like stiffs. They're terrible. And then I went to play for the Albany Patroons for Phil Jackson, and we won a championship. Now, outside of making a lot more money and being in the NBA, which is awfully cool, playing in the CBA wasn't too bad because we were a big deal in Albany. 3,000 people came to a 3,000 seat gym. Everywhere you went, they recognized you. It was really pretty cool. Once you got out of your own ego space, you could enjoy it. And that's kind of what happens with these guys. Everywhere you go in Kokomo, people recognize them. In Enid, Oklahoma, you're recognized. We just finished the championship, and I'm telling you, I posted one of the fans that came up to me and said, "Mister, you don't know me, but thank you for bringing this team to us." And I didn't bring them; their team market owner, Jonathan Reed, did. But we did provide it, and it worked out fine. It's really something special.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm here in Columbus, and Ohio State Buckeyes run Columbus. You can't throw a rock without hitting something Ohio State. And I will say that the Columbus team for the basketball league is even getting radio play and getting buy-in. And I think it's a big part in the Columbus team getting involved. I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. I also think the education that you're providing your players, it's not just, okay, you're playing for my team and you go play and then we'll get you somewhere. You guys are providing education for life outside of basketball. And I think that, can you speak a little bit more on that?
Yes, we do financial literacy classes where, again, it's we're not teaching them to be the wolf on Wall Street, but we are teaching them how to manage a bank account, how to where to spend money, what motivates you to spend money. What people make their first few $1,000 and go out and buy a gold chain when they could buy a car, or they could have an investment, or they could buy a bond or a CD or something, and they don't even understand that they're storing up for their family's future. So we really want to make certain that we take advantage of teaching these young men financial literacy. We want to, we have a team in Jamestown, New York, and a young boy's father wasn't in the family for whatever reason, and the teacher was real involved and said, "We're losing Bobby. Bobby doesn't eat with the students. He takes his lunch and eats in the bathroom. He doesn't want to be around anybody. The only thing he really likes is the Jamestown Jackals. You think there's any way one of the players could come by the school?" We send in a 6'9" kid that's got a blonde faux hawk, who clearly isn't from Jamestown. He walks into the school and it's like, "Oh man, you're Daniel from the Jackals." "Yeah, I am." "What are you here for?" I'm for you, Bobby." "Well, why?" Because you're that important, Bobby. When I was 12, I left my family, or my dad left our family, and it wasn't easy, Bobby. And you're going to be okay. And that touch of affirmation, that pat on the shoulder from our guy, changed that kid's life. He ended up coming to practices. He ended up sitting at the end of the bench. He became a ball boy. You can't tell Bobby he's not the Mac Daddy right now. Bobby is the man, and he's the man in that school. And his confidence and his schoolwork and all the things, just by one little act of kindness, by Daniel walking into that school and giving that boy love. And that's the power we have. And to your point, that's also a business piece, because now we earn the right to be supported. Who doesn't want to come out and watch somebody that takes care of their community? Who doesn't want to put their name on our polo shirts or our hoodies that are going into the schools and the community centers? Everyone's going to want to support that. So it really works together. We do it for the right reason, but then we benefit from it in business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and everything you've said kind of leads back to, the motto, the slogan for the league, where the spirit of the game lives. And I remember when we were talking to Hawk and Coach Coley, they were kind of giving us some insight into what their thoughts were on that. So I'd be interested to hear from your perspective, where that slogan or that mantra came from, and how, additionally, and in addition to what you've said now, how that's lived out day to day within the league.
Did you guys watch The Last Dance?
Yes.
With Michael Jordan? On there was Phil Jackson's assistant coach, Charlie Rosen. Phil coached with him in Albany, and he's probably written 7 books about Phil. He's one of Phil's best friends. Charlie was in when we first started the league. Charlie said, "You need a slogan." Well, Charlie's a writer, so we were actually in a hotel in Albany, and he came downstairs and he says, "What do you think about this?" And he'd just written it down on a piece of paper, "Where the spirit of the game lives." And I'm like, "Well, that's really cool." And initially we were going to do "Where the spirit of the game still lives," which almost sounds like we're the only one that do it, and we don't want to be offensive.
Right.
And when our CEO took a hold of that, she said she took meaning to it. Well, the spirit of the game is love. The spirit of the game is the history of the game is founded by a Methodist minister, James Naismith, who came to the U.S. from Canada and started it in Springfield, Massachusetts. And he started it to just get young men to do something together, because they were having snow days and they had a YMCA and there was nothing else to do. What do you do with all these wild boys? So he put them in a deal, and it really feels like hockey, because that was where he came from. He nailed a peach basket 10 feet above the basket, above the floor, because that's how high the railing was. There was no math to it. It wasn't 10 feet's the right number. It was a 10-foot high. He did it. They didn't even cut a hole for a couple of years. It took them a while before they realized we ought to cut a hole in that thing and make it go a little bit faster. Because after each bucket, they used to have to do a center jump, just like you do in hockey. So, but the whole thing about it was Dr. Naismith had this spirit that he wanted to create in these young men. And so for us, we feel like if we do it the right way, the spirit of the game is love. And if we do it for the right reasons, Hawk is a great example for us. He's playing for the Kokomo Bobcats. He is one of the best players in our league. He has a chance to get seen by Maccabi Tel Aviv and some other Israeli teams in the second round of the playoffs, but it's the same night as our first game for Kokomo. The Kokomo team market owners, recognizing where the spirit of the game lives, is it's about the kids, not about ourselves. Allow him to leave the team and go try out in Nashville, Tennessee. Dislocates his shoulder. He's out for the season. They lose both games and their season's over. Now, you've got 2,000 dejected fans. Hawk is devastated. And you walk up to Jeff Beeler and you walk up to Mark Jansen and you say, what do you think? They said we would have done it again 100 times out of 100 because that's the right thing for our kids. And we want to always err on the side of taking care of our guys. That's what makes this league special. We don't have contracts that the kids can't get out of. We call our team market owners because they don't own the kids, they own the market. And we want to make certain that we help those kids get the best job they can. And I was so honored by the way they did that because he might have made a big difference in that series.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and another thing for Hawk, I mean, what speaks to, again, him as a human being, he participated, we did like an autism awareness challenge, and without even blinking an eye, he's like, yeah, let me do a trick shot for you, and, post it on social media. So, without even really knowing us, aside from a quick conversation, he was all in. So again, I think that speaks to him as a person.
Honestly, every one of those kids, every one of these kids in our league, there's very few guys that I'm not happy to be around. They're just, they compete. We come off a game sometimes, they're not real happy with me because they think a ref made a bad call, or they think this happens, that happens. I get it. But at the end of the day, when you watch them interact with our fans, I posted something yesterday where a little kid who just loves Enid, his family went on vacation for the finals, and they were in Albuquerque. The game was over, 2,000 plus fans. There's confetti going over everywhere, and they're FaceTiming with their favorite player. I mean, how cool is that? They could be trying to hit on some girl or anything else they'll be doing, celebrating themselves. But this little bitty boy who can't be more than 4 years old is going nuts because he's getting to FaceTime with Tavares Sledge, and it's his favorite player. And it's just so fun to see.
That's great. So as far as the sustainability of the league, you were hit with COVID, the league, like every other sports league. And it seems to me like this was, you handled it and you kept going. So can you talk about how COVID affected your league?
Yes, we were really, it came down to two options: shut down and be done, or go forward and grow. And quite frankly, we went from 12 teams to 36 teams in a matter of about 8 months. And the worse COVID got, the more we sold teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, how's that possible? Well, the reality is the majority of your money is spent, operating capital is spent in season. So if we didn't have a season, it wasn't going to cost them a lot of money because we didn't have a season. So it wasn't like there was that much risk to it for them.
Sure.
But everybody wanted to have a reason to hope. So there's a lot of teams and a lot of people that said, I really want this in my community. And we went out, we got creative with how we did the payments and a lot of things to get people in, and it just took off. And it became the benefit of a lot of teams is closer travel. So we don't have as many overnights, we don't have as many airfare, we save money, but then there's rivalries. That Kokomo team that you talk about, I'm in Dayton. There's 200 or 300 fans at a game. 100 of them are coming from Kokomo.
Yep.
That's a 3-hour drive from Kokomo.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. They're going to watch their Bobcats play.
Yep.
We met today. I met today with 4 towns in Indiana that are all within about 2 hours of Kokomo or less. You don't tell me there's going to be some cool rivalries. And again, guys, in this state, which is the greatest state for high school basketball ever, because we had no class basketball till about 20 years ago. So every small town in Indiana built a really big gym.
Yeah.
Greencastle, Indiana is 10,000 people. They've got a 5,000 seat gym. Why would you build a 5,000 seat gym? Because I want to host the sectionals and maybe the regionals. If it's big enough, I can host the semi-state. And all of a sudden, the country schools got a chance to win. So these teams all went out, and of the 15 largest high school gyms in the world, 14 are in Indiana.
Right.
So there's 7,000 in Kokomo. There's 10,000 in which is the largest, is in Newcastle, Indiana. There's 6,000 in Richmond, Indiana. There's 7,000 in Elkhart, Indiana. You just go through it. Logansport, Marion, Muncie. All these teams have huge markets, and so for us, they're standalone markets. People aren't going from Anderson to watch the game in Kokomo unless the Anderson boys are playing. But I'll tell you what, Anderson to Kokomo is a 20-minute drive. Let Anderson go over there and play Kokomo. They're going to sell that game out because they're going to bring their fans, and it's going to be crazy. And that's old school Indiana high school basketball. When you walk in and you see a line all the way out wrapped around the building, that's when the guys get excited when they show up for their shooting round.
That's great. That's great. So we're going to see more Indiana teams then.
Absolutely. You're going to see, we're probably going to almost double our league. We'll go to 48 teams this year. And again, the reason is we'll have, 4 conferences of 12 teams, divisions of 6 to 8 teams. And we're just going to make it where there's pods where you play a lot of your games in your pod, and then you play a few games outside your pod. And we'll really be cost containing while we build a model that is nationally relevant. And that's what makes this so exciting is there's teams all over the country, but they play most of their games within their own conference.
And then as far as exposure for the NBA or the European teams, will the larger amount of teams hurt that?
No. Listen, if I lived in if I wanted to be in the oil business, I'm moving to Saudi Arabia. If I'm in basketball, I'm moving to the United States. We have so stinking much talent. It's unbelievable how many guys aren't in this league that deserve to be in this league. And with exposure, we've got one of the best live streaming platforms in the world. 145 countries watched our games this year. Wow. We have real-time stats that all of our teams are required to keep. So you can not only be watching the game, you can be following, you go to our website and be following the stats online to see real-time, what is Hawk doing? What is this guy doing? And that helps our guys get placed. We're just now starting to announce teams that kids that are getting placed. We've probably had 40 kids placed just since the season ended. I'm just now getting around to announcing where they all are.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been keeping tabs on the social media and seeing some of that, which is, that's what the purpose of the league is to help these players get to whatever the next level for them is. And y'all are doing a fantastic job making that happen. As far as, this past year and over the past few years, as long as the league's been in existence, have there been any, aside from the fans, which seems to be the best ambassador for everything you're doing, have you had any, what the general public would consider high profile ambassadors or people that are doing some work behind the scenes to help out?
Well, I think we have some recognizable high-profile team market owners. With Steve Francis is probably the most recognized name, and our Kendrick Perkins just bought a team, and
we saw that. That's pretty cool for Kendrick Perkins.
Cool. Yeah. It's very cool, and we got the Junkyard Dog Jerome Williams out in Las Vegas. We've got Cliff Livingston is an amazing ambassador. For us who won 2 world championships with Michael Jordan, coaching in Chicago. We've got 2 of the best players in the Big 3 right now that are our coaches. Andre Owens from Indiana, from the Indy Express, is having a whale of a season for his Big 3 team. And James White, I'm going to tell you what, if you want to see something exciting, Google James White's dunks and watch him take flight. He's taking a step away. He takes a step from the free throw line, from behind the free throw line, and then it looks like he's walking in midair with his dunks. He's a phenomenal. And he had a heck of a year coaching this year. He went 22-2 and beat the eventual champion in the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs by 20 the first game. Jeez. And they went up there and he took care of business the next 2. But that's his first year coach, and he did a whale of a job. So we've got a lot of those very visible young men that are doing really nice things for us.
As far as we're talking about coaches go, you have a lot of assistant coaches, you have a lot of teams. Do you see the assistant coaches progressing through or maybe landing jobs elsewhere? How about those situations?
Well, listen, we are a showcase league, period. We want our dancers to use our exposure to get someplace. We want our DJs to get better jobs. We want our mascots to get better jobs. We want our broadcasters to get better jobs. We have two broadcasters out of Syracuse, New York, that are 17 and 18-year-olds old that are just stinking incredible. And they're going to be freshmen at Virginia Tech. They're flying out to Vegas to do our summer league. 3 days of summer league we're doing to, again, give exposure to the kids during the NBA summer league. We'll have games going for 6 hours a day with TBL players, trying to help them get vision, because every scout in the world is going to be in Vegas for those few days. So why not do an event ourselves to help our guys? Doesn't cost our players any money. We don't charge any money for it. It's just done in an effort to try to give exposure, but it's exposure for those guys as well. Our best stat keepers are trying to come out for that. Everybody's trying to use our league to get someplace, which is why it's designed to be a showcase league. It's not just for the players, it's for the coaches and for the assistant coaches and everybody. I mean, our coach of the year this year, Ed Corporal, was an assistant coach the first year. And I'm going to tell you what, you can say what you want to. He's one of the baddest dudes I've ever seen. Had 3 major strokes 6 or 7 years ago, and has to teach himself how to walk and talk and grow every single day of his life. Every day he goes through therapy. Every day he's getting better. And you watch him try to call a time where he takes the hand that struggles with and he puts the other hand with at a timeout. And he just deals with it. And if that doesn't encourage a young man's life, nothing will. To watch somebody overcome something and refuses to let you say it's a handicap or anything, he'll slap you if you try to tell him that. Because he's just a tough guy that wants to win. And I respect that from him, because he's not sitting on a couch saying, woe is me. He's doing something with his life.
So as the president, when do you find time to just relax? It seems to me like you're always moving.
You know what, Jim, honestly, first of all, that CEO and the visionary and founder is also my smoking hot wife. and I've been married to her for 40 years. And honestly, she's my absolute best friend. And we have been soulmates since the day we met, which means we were partners in crime when we raised our 4 kids. We're in agreement with everything with our 7 grandbabies, but we're empty nesters now. So our baby is TBL. And when the only good thing is we're on different cycles. She will stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, sleep until 8:39. I get up at 5:36 and I go to bed at 11. So we have a little bit of window of time where we can work by ourselves. The rest of the times we work together and we go do what we do. And it's not work, because we love the vision that we believe God has given us to do. And we're seeing the fruit, we're seeing it bear out. It's a fallacy of people thinking here we're making a bunch of money, but that's not what we're here for. If we do it the right way, everyone will get a seat at the table and we'll all eat one day. But until then, we're going to do what we have to do to build this thing. And it's been wonderfully successful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was waiting for the right opportunity to put my apologies in for making a misstatement at the beginning about who was at the top. So I don't want to put me or you in the doghouse for making a wrong step on that one.
Well, yeah, and she's cooking me dinner behind me, so I ain't taking no chances with that. She's got my food in her hands. I'm going to make sure I give her all the respect she deserves.
So, Muff and I, we worked in Wheeling, West Virginia, before going different career paths. We were talking before we hit the record button about Wheeling, West Virginia being a good market. What does it take to start a team? If somebody in Wheeling wanted to start a team, what does it take? How do we get them to get a team?
Well, really, to be honest, let's take Kokomo as the example. 2 local owners that are partners in crime, not the best friends. They didn't know, they knew each other, but not like they're hanging out, vacationing together. But they're both really, really well respected and recognized in the community. And if we bring this thing to Wheeling, what will it mean to our community? What are the positive attributes? And then they start asking favors. Hey, would you want to help me and Jeff? Would you want to help me and Mark do this? We have courtside suites that cost X amount of dollars. Would you buy one? Sure. They had 16. They had 12 courtside suites that they needed to sell. A courtside suite is the way they do it is they've got PVC pipe, and they've got signs on the top, and underneath it they've got tables and 6 chairs, food, drink. It's really cool. They sell them, I think, for like $3,000 and say, hey, I want to sell these. The two of those guys, just because they're local businessmen that have done a lot of goodwill in the community, they sold those 12 suites in a matter of less than a day. Pick up the phone, call somebody. Sure, we'd love to support you. Absolutely. My sign will be there. Cool. Now, their friends did that sight unseen. But when they got to the game, I'll tell you what, there's no one going in there snaking those suites from them. They can't sell them to someone else because they're already resold for a higher price next year because everybody wants to renew. So the product, excuse me, the product itself sells itself because the quality is really good. But then they get a drum line, and the drum line provides the bass line. My wife's a music teacher, and it is, you walk into that old gym and you hear this boom, 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 and you just start getting excited. And that's, I mean, I just couldn't see Wheeling not getting behind this. When they see the level of players, the level of athletes, the dancers, the mascots, the drum line, the prep bands, all the things that we can do, it just makes it pretty cool.
I tell you what, you talking makes me want to start one myself. Like, you're so behind this, and so you can make anybody buy into it. I tell you that much because I love it.
But there's a lot of belief, and you know, we've been very fortunate to watch a lot of people put good work behind it, and we've got tremendous staff. You know, my wife has built an amazing portal for each team. It literally is like buying a Jimmy John's. You walk in, and everything you need is on a dashboard, online portal. That's a library of every information you need and to run a team. So we really try to make that, you know, give you all the templates and everything you need to succeed. And if you'll follow the plan, success will come behind it.
Love it.
We're gonna clip everything you just said, and I'm gonna you know, make sure I send that to the mayor of Wheeling and see what we like.
That's
Just
I'm going to tell you what, call the mayor from Kokomo. He's their biggest fan. He's doing commercials online. He's wearing the mascot outfit and doing commercials and pulling it off and say, hey, this is Mayor Tyler Moore. Don't miss the playoffs. And sure enough, it just gets excitement in the community. So you make a good point. Getting the city government and mayor involved is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got to help them politically. It's got to.
Well, yeah, because they get credit for bringing it to their town.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is a community asset. Who doesn't want to live in a town that has a pro team in it?
Exactly.
Especially one that's involved in community like we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
all right. So you've talked a lot about all of the great things that you already do. I mean, everything that you do is built around, like you said, showcasing the league, showcasing the players, showcasing everyone's involved. Is there anything that you're looking to build on next year? You know, little sneak peek into some ways you're going to grow the league or grow everything around the league in the next year?
Well, I think you're going to see. I think we're working on some game of the week TV stuff. We're working on some national sponsors that will help generate some additional revenue. We're working on junior TBL where our guys do free camps and clinics in the community under our brand. There's a decent likelihood there might be a women's division next year that would coincide with the WNBA, so that, you know, we have a product that would be very good and be the development league for the WNBA, since they don't have a product like that. So there's a lot of things like that we're looking at. We just want to make certain what we do really well, everything we do. So we've got a lot on our plate, but we're not going to move from one to the next. So we're pretty much mastering everything.
That's awesome. That is fantastic, especially the WNBA connection. If that, again, I am pushing for that connection. I'm a big fan of that.
Well, we have 4 kids. Our oldest daughter won the NCAA championship in tennis at Florida, and our second daughter played college basketball. So we're very familiar with that. Our 2 sons play college basketball as well. One at Western Kentucky and one at Park College in Kansas City. So we've been around everything from the women's sports to the men's sports, and we have a healthy respect for all of that.
I appreciate that.
you go, Jim. You got your two young
I
daughters.
know.
You go start growing them on that new league that comes in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, to be honest, there's twice as many scholarships for girls and boys because of the gender equity laws. So with football getting 64, 65 scholarships, it was amazing how those young women got treated at Florida. Now, they're flying on Lear jets to their games because you got to spend the same amount of money on the women as you do the men, and that Florida football team is pretty darn good.
That's right.
You hear about that little stuff, but you don't think how it actually manifests in the day to day for the collegiate sport level.
Man, I played at Kansas, and I didn't get treated as well as my daughter did at Florida tennis. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with that.
That's great. So, all right. Is there anything that we can look forward to in the coming weeks or months? I mean, I know you're in off season, which is really just continuing to build mode for
Well,
you. I'm sure
you're gonna watch us do the summer league in August 10th, 11th, 12th in Vegas, and then we'll have team market owner meetings in September. You'll probably see another 15 teams announced. I mean, we're going to be at 48 next year, and then we'll have a major combine probably in February again next year. So we're just getting after it and strengthening our markets. And where our teams need extra ownership or an extra sponsorship, we're going to make it happen, and we're going to have success. I mean, we have no option but to go forward. A failure is not an option for us. This is just not how we live. And I lost my mother when she was 57, and I lost my brother when he was 57, and I'm 61. So I know how temporal life is. I don't want to waste a minute taking naps. I'm running as hard as I can, as long as I can, to impact as many lives as I can, so that when I lay down my head at night and when I don't wake up, someone's going to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And it's important to us that we take that as our edict, not that we make millions of dollars or not that we get really famous. If we really impact the lives, 400 young men got paid to play professional basketball this year in the United States because of TBL. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably half of those will be playing around the world next year. That's very cool. But how many thousands of fans and young people got touched by those 400 men? So from that standpoint, that's pretty cool what we get to do. How can you not have great energy to go after that?
I tell you what you said today in this interview, you got me wanting to knock down walls. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jim. Muff.
Absolutely.
And as much as I love you, I can smell my wife's cooking. So I about need to cut this short.
Yeah, you better get after it.
Yeah, you're good. So yeah, thank you again. And Dave Magley, president of the Basketball League, where the spirit of the game lives, not to be confused with the CEO of the league, who is the real boss.
Amen. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye.